Welcome back, everyone. We're in my office in the Jeep. So last video we got everything mocked up, making sure all the pieces are going to jive together, and if they don't, what we need to do to help them get along together. Now I need to get this trailer functional so I can pull it behind the Jeep and start working out some of the kinks if there are any. The first kink that I've run into that I don't really care for is the length of the tongue on the trailer. It was 28 inches. So, you know, I want to keep this as short and nimble as possible, but that short of a tongue is going to make it very, very difficult to back this trailer up if I need to. Also, in order for me to be able to jackknife it in a bad situation, 28 inches is going to put the corner of the Jeep and the corner of the Jeep trailer in the same space, running into each other. And that is definitely not going to jive very well. So I need to make that tongue longer. The question is, how much longer, and what other benefits am I going to have when I make it longer? One is it's going to back up a little bit easier. It's a short little trailer. It's going to turn so fast it's not even going to be funny. But hopefully it stays small enough that I don't have to back it up a lot. Second is, if you look in the picture, I have the rooftop tent folding forward. The reason I did that is because I want to keep the footprint small, and anywhere I park the Jeep and the trailer with the tent folding forward, I can open up the tent. The other part of that is the tailgate of the trailer is now accessible with the tent open, and I can use that to set up, you know, my cooking and all that good stuff. So what I decided is I'm going to extend that hitch. I'm going to extend the tongue to 40 inches. What that does is that gives me a better wheelbase from the rear Jeep axle to the trailer axle, gives me a little more space when I flip the tent forward, and should slow the trailer down ever so slightly so it might back up a little bit easier. How did I get the 40 inches? Well, this is my thought process. I know that the standard wheelbase of a two-door JK, which is what I'm driving, is like 95.4 inches. I don't want to just pull this with my JK. I want to pull it with my CJ5. A 76 CJ5 has a standard wheelbase of 83.5, I think. It's a little over 83 inches. So I want to make sure that my wheelbase between the rear axle of either Jeep and the axle of the trailer is longer and in a manner where it mathematically does not put me in a bind. Like if I'm four-wheeling going up some steps where all three axles happen to hit the same step at the same time, because then I got to drag three axles up things. Or when you're going down the freeway, right below the Grapevine, there's a section of road that we used to take the YJ on, and it was just the right wheelbase, and you would just bounce up and down at 60, 70 miles an hour, and it was horrible. There's also some places that are like that up here in Washington, south of Seattle, kind of a little bit before Fife. So I want to try to avoid that if possible. So with creating a 40-inch tongue, I now have created a wheelbase between the rear axle of the Jeep, the JK, and the axle on the trailer. I've now created about 118 inches. Around 20 some odd inches difference on the wheelbase of the vehicles. regardless of it, if it's the CJ5 or the JK. So that was how I came up with a 40-inch tongue on the trailer. For the actual hitch on the trailer and on the Jeep, I did not want to go with a standard ball hitch. I've seen them bend. They're great for running around on the roads, maybe dirt roads, but I want something that if I actually get out and wheeling some tougher trails, that hitch is not going to get bent, damaged, or limit what I'm able to accomplish by maxing out the articulation that ball hitch has. There are several expensive articulating hitches, I think is the term, off-road hitches. I don't like any of them. There's a lot of moving parts, and you know, it's kind of like, why fix what ain't broken? So I'm going with a lieutenant ring and pintail hitch that's good enough for the military and good enough to tow 14,000 pounds. It's good enough to haul my Jeep trailer and bounce over some rocks. The other reason why I did this is because with a lieutenant ring, I can actually buy a plate that comes with it that is adjustable, because my CJ5 is not as tall as my JK. So I need to be able to make it adjustable so that the trailer travels as close to level as possible. Also, while doing that, I can actually get another hitch. So I have an adapter to actually put a ball hitch on it if I decide to pull it with my truck, or wanted to loan the trailer out, or if something happens, I have options. Because not everybody runs around with a pintail hitch on their Jeep. Not anymore anyway. That's my choice for my hitch and why I made the tongue the way that I did. On a side note, I left as much of the tongue there as possible when I extended it, mainly for structure, and not really for structure like I'm worried about the tongue doing something weird, but when I measured the trailer and the length of the motorcycles I want to put in this thing, I ran into a problem. They won't fit with the tailgate up, and I'd like to have the tailgate up. So leaving as much of the old tongue inside the new extensions of the tongue gives me more things to extend the bed on. Now, the way I'm going to do this, it's not going to affect the corners of the trailer or any of the tin of the trailer running into the quarter panels of the Jeeps, hopefully. And that'll be in a later video, but I have a plan. Believe it or not, well, maybe they're not plans. Believe it or not, I have a lot of ideas that are kind of plans, and then we start putting them in action, and then we change them around. But I'm going to put links for the hitches and parts and pieces that I got for this part of the build in the description below. I don't have any affiliate links or anything like that, but I figured you guys need to see them, and that way I can use that for the running tally of what the cost of this Jeep trailer. So like things like materials, like Sawzall blades and welding wire, I'm not going to count that. I'm going to count the hardware and the meat and potatoes of the parts that I've had to buy. Also, you'll see in these pictures of this tongue, I didn't buy more metal. I didn't buy metal. I had scrap metal around, and that's what I'm going to try to use for everything on this Jeep, or on this Jeep trailer. See, I have quite a bit of scrap metal that I've gathered up for this build, and it's there to keep costs down. So if you're planning on building something similar to this, you know, the price might vary a little bit, I guess, or I guess it's not the price. The cost might vary. So, anyways, if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate your time and all of your interaction, the likes, subscribes, the comments, all that stuff. It's super rad. And thank you for watching. And until next week, stay safe and stay sane. Get outside, hit some dirt roads, hit a lake or a creek, do some fishing, maybe do some camping. And maybe we'll see you out there. Later.